there's this moment when I was about 15 or 16, and I remember we were calling the guy that would drop off benzocaine to us, like, which is the cutting agent for coke, right?
Okay.
We used to get this deal out from China, which would fly this 25 kilos of benzocaine to Wales. I'd go to Wales, pick up this benzocaine, right? And I remember we called him, and he was like, "What the fuck do you want?" I was like, "Oh, we would like, time and date." And he was like, "Mate, my girlfriend's got a fucking dildo right up my ass. I ain't got fucking time with this." I'm like, and then just the call kind of cut dead, and I was like, "Man, he's hard as fucking nails, and like he's taking a dildo up the ass." I was like, "That's really interesting." And I was like,
I have heard you like that, by the way.
"Yeah, I've
I will get onto that in a bit.
Yeah.
I was gonna wait a bit before I.
Well, that's where it kind of clicked to me. I was like, wait, he can be this tough, mass presenting dude that no one fucks with, but he doesn't mind taking a dildo up the arse. I was like, that's really interesting. I think then it started to click. I was like, wait, I don't really have to follow these kind of like norms, right? And I always felt like I was a little odd as a kid anyway, just because of the way I dressed. And, a lot of people thought I was just into American things, but I think I was just into the idea of being like unconventional.
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from. Really, really it stems from. But like that conversation, that phone call, trying to find out where the drop point was at a certain day, and him saying his girlfriend had a dildo up his ass. I still always remember it to this day.
Okay, so then how soon after that information did you try it yourself?
10, 12 years? Hang on. No, actually much longer than that. Nearly 15 years.
So you found out that this guy was being pegged. Was he being pegged?
I don't fully know the details. I don't want to assume. I just know he had a fucking dildo up his ass.
So you found out that information, and you were like, right, this is someone I really admire, who's doing something that's unconventional, but they're still quite tough and hard and whatever it is. So during those 10 years, did you experiment with men, or?
I didn't experiment with men, but what I would say is, like, I like to be honest about this now, because I think a lot of men do this and don't really talk about it. But there was periods of time when I was like 100% like fetishizing over like trans people.
Okay.
I also, I feel there's times I was looking at gay porn as well, and I think a lot of men fucking do, and they choose not to admit it, Again, like I don't find myself physically attracted, or I haven't met anyone. I actually don't want to never say never, but I've never met a man that I'm like sexually attracted to. In fact, it like feels like the opposite when I've been in those group situations before. But I would say from a young age, I was definitely fetishizing about being with a trans person.
Why do you think that is?
In terms of the attraction, I'm not sure, because oddly, I'm kind of more attracted to, when it comes to, a cisgender female, I'm very much attracted to someone who's a bit more like mask presenting when it comes to that. But when it comes to a trans woman, I'm definitely more attracted to a trans woman who is like very feminine.
Okay.
So there's the either end of the spectrum.
Do you know why that might be?
No, I haven't really delved too much into it, but it definitely started from a young age that I would like dabble into like trans porn or like alternative porn. Again, like breaking. Again, this is why I identify as queer, because it's not near your conventional porn. But what is conventional porn these days? Because it's such a massive spectrum.
Yeah. Just need to say, this is an explicit podcast, so I am going to go there with the questions.
yeah, that's fine.
So with the trans girls that you've been with, and when you've been in that situation, have you been the top or the bottom?
I've been both.
Okay.
I very much identify as switch, but more top presenting. Right. To be fair, and the reason being with that, and this goes on to the pegging actually with a partner. The reason I'm into that is not just, and this is going to sound so fucking self-righteous, right? But
I think you're brilliant. I think it's brilliant that you're coming on here and saying all this.
I like the shift in power dynamics.
Yeah.
I'm very, and I'd rather be explicit as well, right? I'm a white male, but I'm very anti-white and anti-male.
Okay.
In like my beliefs.
Right.
Just because I feel like the whole society is ruled by white male patriarchy, right? So I like the shifts in power dynamics, and it doesn't, for me, doesn't sit right that my partner, I'm just, in a way dominating and penetrating my partner, and they don't expect to do that back. You can tie me up and whatever and do whatever and have power in that way, but for me that still doesn't get over the fact that really ultimately if I'm penetrating you, I'm always going to have the upper hand, right? So that doesn't sit well with me. So I think it's
even if they're on top,
because I have a bodily part of me that's inside them,
right?
I'm breaking their gate. So I like the idea of that should be a shared like what's the word? It just should be a shared moment, a shared experience.